I'm really excited to see how Firm Shake performs. I actually got to interview Necromongers going into the finals of HeroesHype Temple Storm Series 3. And it was a really cool conversation. He's just one of those calm, cool, collected guys, even keel, with a lot of passion for competitive heroes. I haven't had a chance to see him in a little while, so I'm very excited to see how this latest lineup for Firm Handshake fares. They are on the left side of the screen over on the right. We got NA LUL, who looked rather convincing. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun map just because of, the certain kinds of team counts that we can see come out on this map. Don't see much Kerrigan anymore. Sadness. But we do see really team fight and poke oriented strats come out, like
right
at split pushing as well. There's plenty of times you see that Sonya or that Arthas take a shrine by themselves while the team goes and does other things. So we'll definitely see what these teams decide to go with here as we see the Tassadar ban come out on the blue side. And really, that's a smart ban. Like, Tassadar has way too much utility here between the vision, the AoE, the slow on his right, his right click. It's just way too much to, let one team have right now.
As I learn more about NA LUL, the more I'm coming to appreciate their kind of Heroes of the Storm. I mean, you look at their picks and their bans and the way they play. They're very aggressive. They want to have that firing shot across the bow. They don't want anyone engaging on them. They like to dictate the terms of the team fight, and they stand to be able to do that at least set that up again with the ETC pick. But last game they banned Tassadar, and then in the second round they banned out Medivh. So what that says to me is, like, this team, they like to engage, they like to get that burst damage in, and they want to limit all the responses that could limit that. Very aggressive play. I like that kind. I like that kind of hero.
Well, the Genji is now off the table along with Karazim. So
the early Karazim.
I like it. Karazim is one of the few who I believe he got missed by the nerf bat.
I think he got toned down a little bit, but it wasn't like Malfurion.
Yeah, I know the range supports got the worst of it. The melee supports didn't get hit as badly. I mean, they still got hit, but like Karazim still does a lot, a surprising amount of damage for a support, has really good utility, is one of the viable double support healers.
However, when you take Karazim in the 1-2 with Genji, I feel like the back end of this draft, Firm Handshake have something up their sleeve. Pun kind of intended there. The Gray Mane will get snapped up by NA LUL. Very good at clearing out the defenders during the objective in Morgan form. Rhaegar is also capable of doing that as well. Ancestral Healing, a nice burst response to a potential Genji engagement. Power Slide and Mosh Pit will definitely be points of concern for the Cyborg Ninja. With this Karazim pick, though, Zex, I don't know, man. If you take Karazim early, the back end's got to be spicy, right?
Or it's or it's a comp that's just going to constantly run at you. Like that's another idea here. They take somebody that gives armor and healing, and they just constantly run at you. And with the Sonya band coming out, I like that band. That also kind of says that, yeah, we're going to run at you. So I'm expecting a Murden to come out here at this point, and maybe another aggressive, maybe another healer, or another like forward moving DPS, maybe like a Vala or something.
I would agree. When you take Karazim, one of the things he does bring to the table is a lot of mobility. So if Genji jumps in, he's one of the few supports that can get out to him and give him that full amount of value as far as supports go. His AoE based healing means he gets the most amount of value around his teammates. So we might very well see a double warrior composition, Genji diving in, and then like one mage on the back line or something like that. And we do get the Vohio combo. Firm Handshake took notes. And they're going to lock in Arthas as well to slow down the attack speed of Greymane. A nice counterpoint.
Definitely. Now, the last thing is, if they decide to go double tank with this, this could be a Syndragosa Arthas. And that wouldn't surprise me. But they need a really, really beefy frontliner. Again, Murden is an option. Wouldn't be my first pick. Another one with the comp that they're running, the dive anyiness that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You could run a Falling Sword Johanna, make it even spicier. That would be a way.
That would be muy picante. I actually really like Murden for NA LUL here. Because one thing, when you show Li Ming and Genji this early on, if you go like thick with your comp with 2 Cs, it's going to be that much harder to get the cooldown resets. Instead, they're going to lock in the double support, go for Brightwing. Emerald Wind should serve as a strong disengage against Genji. Polymorph is also very much a foil to how that hero likes to engage. Horrify shuts things down. Also, this is a full, like, just stiff arm. Like, don't. Just don't.
Right. Yeah. You're not wrong. This is Marshawn Lynch, doing the Beast Quake all over again. And that's the level of disengage they have. It's just straight. You're not. What are you doing? Stop it.
The more I'm thinking about it,
stop it.
I like it a lot. If ETC hangs on to the power slide for a defensive gesture, it won't be too difficult to land that on Genji. We do see Dahaka for the macro play, and it feels like Firm Handshake was like, all right, we need to like back off of the team fighting capability so much and just kind of play the map more.
I think they were going for the Brightwing for the last pick. I think they wanted.
You think Firm Handshake was going Brightwing?
I think Firm Handshake wanted that Brightwing for the last pick for the Genji bomb.
The Genji bomb.
Genji, gets in the middle of them. Brightwing TP's in, hits the Emerald Wind, and okay, your team is now completely split up, and you have no way to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
however, I really do. The more I'm thinking about the Brightwing pick for NA LUL, I'm liking it. The spell shield will definitely take some of the air out of the tires for Li Ming. Double support also makes the cooldown resets that much more difficult to come by for Li Ming and Genji.
Mm-hmm.
Pumpkin Slayer's gonna be playing Golden. Horrify is gonna be there. So there's a lot of both engage and disengage on the side of NA LUL, and I'm a fan.
Yeah, it's a really smart comp. They can use all those abilities on their side, offensively or defensively, and this is gonna be a lot of fun to watch. I'm in love with both comps, if I'm honest.
I'm really excited to see the execution on the left side. We're going to have Firm Handshake. D. Steves is playing Genji. Lex Uther is on Arthas. Ninturi is playing Dahaka. Necromongers is on Li Ming. Karazim is going to round it out, being played by Zero Max.
And on the red side, we've got NA LUL. We've got Zergling on the Greymane. Sirius on the ETC. Pumpkin Slayer on the Gul'dan. Dan Clan on the Rhaegar. And Mitchie D's on the Brightwing.
Curious to see if these teams want to get involved in the level 1 team fight. I think there's an argument potentially for both teams to want to play that game, but with Dahaka already up top, looks like the survey says no. Pumpkin Slayer hanging out in the bush gets found out by a magic missile from Necromongers. Li Ming says hello.
You can see the Gul'dan cocktail and all the wave clear that is actually on the side of NA LUL. That's something I feel like maybe I either didn't hear you mention or we kind of just glossed over. There is actually a lot of wave clear on the side of NA LUL.
They have a multifaceted composition. The Lightning Shield does not have Lightning Bond anymore. Still no slouch on its own. As far as wave clear goes, Greymane's going to end Cocktail. Gul'dan, even without the previous 2 callouts, Gul'dan in and of itself is going to be a decent amount of wave clear. So even if Firm Handshake pivoted into more of a macro style by going into the Dahaka, NA LUL, they're no slouches for macro potential either. I like it.
Yeah, no, these are just 2 incredibly well thought out comps right here. We see NA LUL. Ooh, he got the stun off on the Zero Max, but sad part was it was on the Charism, so he just Radiant dashes to Necromongers and he's out and he goes back in. No fear. Pumpkin Slayer in a bit of trouble. Gets a heal from Rhaegar right there, and Gilney and Cocktail kind of getting a little extra damage there at the end.
Farthus hit a root at the wrong moment, and NA LUL could have suffered the first takedown of the game. A nice counter response. Karazim definitely showing that they're not afraid of any ghosts. They just jumped back out there like, hey, I'm half health. What of it? But both of these teams are around in the corner. Or level 4 in the top lane. Punisher shows up. Zergling gets found out down bot with some poke. Power slide goes out. Sirius wants to get involved. Zero Max starts to back away. Karazim eats a good amount of poke damage. No threat of a takedown.
Yeah, but we do see up at the top, we see Notori starting that shrine. And that's something we didn't really touch base on, as Dahaka was the last pick. Dahaka is also pretty good at solo shrine clearing.
Not too shabby. In some instances, you want to get the global value, so it's just kind of like an unlucky roll of the dice on that front with the first objective showing up in the top lane. But with the distraction down bot, 13 defenders were racked up free of charge for Firm Handshake, so not bad.
It does look NA LUL is going to just give this top shrine up, and instead they're going to seek value elsewhere. It looks like Dan Clan's coming in around for maybe a flank, but we see it. Karazim take an awful lot of damage right there. Zero Max getting out by the skin of his teeth. We see Dahaka come in on the bottom, Zergling way out of position with no ability to disengage, but he goes in, gets one kill. Can he get another? Lex Luthor in the backline, though, getting a kill of his own onto Brightwing. You see the corruption go out onto Lex Luthor. He's going to go down, and now Genji has to quick blade away as Sirius is in the middle of everybody. They are hungry. They just don't care. And now that leaves them free to take the aggressive siege camp in the middle and then just rotate top and just take that shrine.
I think what we saw there, Zex, could be the story of the remaining team fights of this game. Firm Handshake are not afraid at all of NA LUL. We saw their aggressive positioning, and it did net them a takedown. But by the time Dahaka and Karazim went in with the rest of the team, they were, what, 40% health? The battle, in a lot of ways, was already over. The poke damage and consistent pressure that NA LUL have been putting on their opponents netted them the victory in that team fight. And I feel like it's going to take a measure of patience from Firm Handshake to preserve those health bars before everyone's there in a team fight, or else they're going to, again, find themselves in a situation where they get a takedown in return, but they're not going to get ahead like that.
Oh, that's a bad position for Arthas right there. Dan Klein going in with the Bark Bar. We got a Brightwing coming in as well. Healing Word does go down. Lex Luthor about half health right now, and he is just taking an awful lot of damage. The cleanse comes out onto Pumpkin Slasher, and now Firm Handshake really split up.
The main tank in me really appreciates the timing of that route, because if Lex Luthor didn't hit that, I'm confident Sirius would have been looking for that next power slide, and that could have ended up with a few heroes getting taken down on the side of Firm Handshake. Sirius misses the power slide. There's the root on two people. Zergling pretty low on health. Lex Luthor steps forward with Nintori to try to put the screws to Gray Mane. Both teams on even talent tiers. So far, Dan Clan's keeping his team alive with Mitchie D's.
Yeah, but note the positioning of NA LUL right now. They're just blocking this shrine off from all angles. They're not letting them come anywhere near it. And they're setting up for potentially another kill. Pumpkin Slayer getting a quick little heal. But I don't think that, yeah, they weren't going to be able to take that. If they had gotten a couple of pickoffs, it's very possible that NA LUL could have gotten that shrine away from them. So
I agree. Value was had out of Dahaka getting that early amount of defenders. A lot of damage goes in on Sirius, who is in serious trouble. It's the juke power slide sideways. Mitchie D jumps in to help his teammate escape. A daring one at that. The root from Arthas just misses. Zero Max and the rest of the team leaning forward with 40% plus still on his Frozen Punisher. NA LUL just have to concede the first 4 of the game.
Yeah, but it's not with all the value that they got prior to dropping that shrine. It's not the biggest loss lead in the world. They'll both be at 10 before the next shrine pops up. This Brightwing needs to be careful. But we do see that Firm Handshake does take one of the towers. They're going to be setting up, it looks like, maybe around this siege camp on the side. They definitely want Mitchy D's. They don't like him. They don't appreciate fairy dragons for some reason.
He's hanging out behind those towers, and with good reason, as level 10 is rounded. But NA LUL aren't too far off either. Sirius hanging out in the bush for a little bit, looking for that power slide mosh pit engagement. A lot of low health bars, some juicy targets, and with the root down, Sirius could go in. Gets the power slide. Brightwing is looking to get involved with the teleport. Lex Luthor forces out, has to use Army of the Dead, but the polymorph actually is not going to get there in time to secure the takedown. And Ancestral Healing hits at the last moment. Arthas goes down into a 3-person mosh pit, and NA LUL looks to clean up.
Again, a lot of low health bars. Sirius manages to barely get that kill. We see the drag onto ETC right there. There's 3 still dead. Necromongers is going to die as well. Sirius does not care that there is a fort in his way. He is going for a monk. Apparently, ETC is not that religious.
I was concerned. I wanted to see how NA LUL responded to the situation, because that was the first time tonight we kind of saw them on the back foot coming off of that last Punisher. I was like, all right, how do they play this? They're not going to have their heroics first. The response apparently is go face, because the moment they got the level 10, they went in for the hard engagement. And I think, Zex, what we're seeing is anytime Lex Luthor is not able to either set up a disengage or an engagement with his root, ETC sets up a lot for his team.
Well, right before that team fight at the front, the bottom keep wall broke out. They weren't in 10 yet, and ETC was already moving in. He had, like, I was looking at it. I play tank, and I was like, he's got a 4-man mosh lined up. As we see Prog Rock already finish up. Genji jumping in, throwing some shurikens out, but ETC not really having that nonsense. The damage goes out. Don't know if that was the best fear in the world, but we'll take it. 1 landed on 1. It gives them some opportunity to clear some of these shrine minions out. Currently sitting on 17.
Horrify being used could have huge implications on this even tier team fight. No mosh pit available either. Emerald Wind does go out for the disengage. Looks like NA LUL mainly looking to buy time for that mosh pit to come available. They have go for the throw and Ancestral Healing in the employee as well. 22 defenders up. 7-sided strike goes out, forces out the Ancestral Healing. Sirius is waiting 2 more seconds before he can dance. He's looking to go.
And he has got a beautiful line onto 4 right now. If he hits that slide, can he get it? No, he doesn't even need it. He pushes everyone back. Lex Luthor in the back line, trying to get a lot of damage out. Doesn't really work. The mosh pit does not get the results they wanted. And now this is NA LUL in a lot of trouble.
The dragon becomes Genji. D Steves helps set up the 3rd takedown in an impressive team fight. He's hanging out here with 321 health. Not concerned in the least. Aggressive Genji play saves the day for Firm Handshake, who I thought they might have been on the ropes, because Mosh Pit came offline and like came back up. Like you said, a lot of blue health bars lined up for a nice power slide, but the Li Ming poke and the Genji cooldown resets, they're a problem for this double support comp outside of their burst healing options.
Yeah, I do feel like, though, the later this goes on, as long as NA LUL can stay within range and not really take too heavy a losses on this upcoming Punisher phase, because they almost had that Punisher, but the ETC whiffing that mosh pit kind of killed that. And now they're going in, and I don't know if this is the best decision. Here comes Heroesum. He's way out of position, gets polymorphed, he goes down, and take it. Their healers down, get that free clear on that Punisher. D-Steve's going in for a reason only known to him, gets stunned out. Necromonger's going in. Nice little job right there. Whole lot of damage on Mitchy D's. He's got it back, but they are getting aggressive. D-Steve's almost dead. Lex Luthor also getting really low. Ancestral comes out onto the ETC. He's going to get pinballed back. That's a dead Arthas. That's a quest completed for Greymane as well. Oh, Genji does not care, just goes in. He's going to pay for his life with that, but hey, moral victory.
You know his E-Key took some physical abuse out of that progression. He was looking to dash out of there immediately. Not going to happen in time. Cheeky play. It again looks like NA LUL's in one of those positions. Like, well, we could defend. We can just defend the, the Punisher. Not too big a deal. Or Or we could just go in and hard engage like it's the end of the game right here at level 13. Forward-leaning, aggressive play. I'm not going to say that they caught Karazim with his pants down, Zex, but the belt was loose at least, I'd say.
Yeah, it was. And the belt was definitely loose, and ETC just came up and pantsed him at that point. Like there was a panic 7-sided that came out. There was a lot of ults on the side of Firm Handshake that were kind of panic used right there to try to disengage that team fight, and Brightwing just pressed W or whatever polymorph is, and that was it. So I mean, this is the game I was hoping for. Like it's just back and forth constantly.
Two things that are or something that's really interesting to me so far, Zex, and I agree with this game has been amazing so far. Right now, NA LUL is slightly ahead in experience, being down a fort and some change against Dahaka. I mean, they have a global themselves in Brightwing, so I guess they're able to match the Silk, but I'm just surprised with the structure advantage. Oh, no, I guess
there is no structure. Yeah, they got bottom. Oh, we got a fight breaking out here on the bottom. Some side strike does come out. Zero Max in a bit of trouble, and they decide that, yeah, no, we don't want any part of this, even though Brightwing's not with them. Sirius misses the power slide, and now they say, hey, there's two in mid. Lux Uther isn't really pulling that out from there just yet. Sides, yeah, they're all coming this way. I'm out of here later.
Yeah, heads up decision making on the parts of both of those teams. Level 16 was a hair's breadth away for NA LUL. Firm Handshake were able to skate out of there. If that power slide connected on the Genji, could have been a bad time to say the very least. But both of these teams should have their level 16 talents by the time the next principal elements, this progression, comes to pass. Doc already hanging out up top. Brightwing again catching that soak, getting value out of the global pressure. A little bit of fishing there from that magic missile. Necromongers doesn't want to find out ETC's in that push. I like that heads up decision making.
And Sirius kind of like baiting right there, if I'm honest. He was hoping they'd go on him because that would have been really bad.
Shrine is active. Party not yet started. Dahaka and Brightwing both hanging out down bot. Sirius does move up with the rest of his team. Get some early value out of the defenders. This did pave the way for Firm Handshake to get a defender Punisher early on. A lot of damage goes in on D-Steves. He has to use his protected, by the way, to get out of there. Early ancestral healing gets used as well.
Yeah, and we see Notori come up on that Dahaka, and he is already starting to clear out some of those skeletal defenders. Ooh, Sunside Strike comes out. Doesn't do that much damage, but Dahaka goes down. The Polymorph just doing work. A nice little mosh pit from the ETC right there, and Zero Max is in a lot of trouble. Can he stay alive? Does he have a W? No, he does not. He goes down as well. A 3-for-0 trade. A little bit of anti-synergy on the side of NA LUL. The mosh pit and the Emerald Wind kind of coming out at the same time, but you know what? It doesn't really matter in the end. So
I don't know what it looked like on your screen, Zex, but Dahaka's ragdoll flying over that wall looked like a 20-foot jump shot swish from Zergling. That polymorph went right into the go for the throat. Zergling was like, you activated my trap card, buddy. I've been waiting for all of this. Gets the takedown, which paves the way for a lot more. The top fort gets claimed before the Punisher comes out to play. That's going to be value for NA LUL.
Well, and let's talk about real quick the great presence of mind out of D-Steves and Necromongers to take that mid fort from NA LUL just now. They were down. They're down a level. They're like, hey, we can get a structure. Nobody is rotated. Let's try to stay close and experience. And they went and grabbed that fort and backed.
Heads up decision making. Take what value you can after losing a team fight. Punisher goes over the wall. Boatloads of damage goes in on D-Steves. He's able to dash out of there. I'm wondering if the poison's going to take him down anyway. It does. Limbo bars. Got to watch out for those. Arcane Punisher rocking and rolling on this keep. We have ancestral healing back up as well for the burst response healing. Should Li Ming land the Orb of Destiny, that top fort gets claimed. Do they look to end here?
If they can get one pick off of it, what is this Punisher doing? Okay, there is a tower still standing. If they can get
tower.
If they can get a pick off this, yes, and especially if it's Charism right there. So now they're down a healer and their main damage dealer. They are just gonna keep pressuring the score. I don't see them this going poorly for them. It's possible, but we see the isolation come out from Dahaka, but it doesn't matter. The mosh pit on Arthas gets another kill. Yeah, this is game at this point, unless DCs can perform something magical. Just not enough there at the end.
The moment ETC hit that mosh pit, I was like, well, time to tape one G, follow it up with another G. That's going to be a good game. Nicely done by both of these teams. I'm very impressed with the level of execution we saw out of both of these squads. I'm particularly impressed with NA LUL's decision-making in moments where another team might have felt their backs being pressed against the wall. They might have taken a more defensive posture, especially in the mid lane around level 13 when they lost their Mortar Punisher. The normal standard idea is like, all right, let's just go defend. You know, we baited over the wall. We can save our middle fort. No big deal. NA LUL was like, actually, we're just going to go in on their face and see what happens. I love that kind of scrappy gameplay.
Yeah, and it was really heads up call. I believe Zergling is their shot caller, and if he is, that was a really heads up play because they had, they hadn't used as many ults as Firm Handshake did, so they had a window where they're like, this Punisher is not going to jump on us. Our front wall is already down. We can go on them. So that was just great. Presence of mind right there. But I loved what Firm Handshake was trying to do that entire time. Lex Luthor was just constantly trying to get on their back line to disrupt whatever, the front line was trying to do. And it worked out more times than not.
Yeah.
But like just the few fights that they just lost really hard.
Yeah, and as those death timers get longer, you're gonna feel it. Sure. I did like the Firm Handshake they were able to bait out heroics relatively early in some of those team fights. The Ancestral Healing on a couple of instances came out like in some of the beginning stages. And that's a recipe for success if you got Li Ming and Greymane. If that healing option isn't there, Brightwing's not gonna be able to follow up that much off of that. As far as like, oh, we need to save this person. So that they were able to pose that much of a threat to get those burst healing options, set up some potential plays for them. I just feel like late game, Genji, he kind of got caught. There were two instances where like he had to use, his deflect and his cyborg agility defensively because he ate a power slide from ETC and then like the poison damage from Gul'dan was there afterwards. It really prevented Firm Handshake from taking an aggressive stance in those late game team fights. Again, I guess that's a credit to NA LUL's ability to catch a high moving target, man. They were target practice out there.
Yeah, they definitely were. A lot of those power slides were just effective enough, just to pin, Genji down. There's a few times where Genji was trying to leave a shrine area, and that big beefy body was just like, no, you kind of got to go around me. And I saw you your Swift Strike earlier, so you get around me. Come on.
So now we're gonna have this talk. But we have heard from Ball and Beast, who's been a beast running the production. The other game on the other side of the bracket between
Team Cynix and those guys.
Team Cynix were able to take down Oh My Science. Okay. I see you out there. I see you out there. So that game is 3 minutes in right now. The winner of that will be facing NA LUL in the finals, which will be a best of 3 affair. So we're going to take a short break. Once that game finishes up, we'll have our finals underway. NA LUL have looked impressive so far tonight. Let's see if they can keep the streak going. But for now, take a little bit of a break.